You believe you've seen everything, but you haven't, I assure you. Yes, Chrissy Lampkin, the person we all assumed we recognized from television, passed out in court today. But not in the way that everybody anticipated. This was more than just a collapse of emotions. Her world was collapsing in real time. However, that isn't even the most absurd aspect. Cameron comes in. Yes, you heard correctly. Nobody anticipated that Cameron would be the one responsible for her demise. What did he do? He dropped covert information that will soon contradict all of our preconceived notions about Chrissy. Surprising documents, hidden recordings, and things that were never intended to be exposed to daylight. Do you believe this to be merely another courtroom drama? Rethink your thought. It's a game-changer. Chrissy's career could be ruined by what Cameron is carrying. Furthermore, nobody is prepared for what will happen next. This goes beyond a simple scandal. It's the controversy that will make you wonder about everything. A bombshell of epic proportions is about to happen, so pay attention. Like any other court day, it began. Fans were lined the streets, paparazzi were flashing, and everyone was waiting to see Chrissy Lampkin as she walked into the courts, as if she still controlled the story. Hair laid to the gods, fancy shoes clicking, and big sunnies on. But a lady is just a few seconds away from having a complete public breakdown beneath her glamorous exterior. Furthermore, nobody was prepared for the impending chaos, not even Chrissy herself. Because that day, when seated in the courtroom, she hadn't spoken to the man in years, but he was silent but lethal. Cameron. And I'm here to help my pals, so this wasn't kind of atmosphere. No, Cam had a reason for being here, the kind that destroys careers. The court began quietly. Too quiet. Like the quiet before a full-fledged thunderstorm on reality TV. The judge came in. The lawyers gave a nod. Then all of a sudden, someone slid a weird silver briefcase across the desk of the prosecutor. The label, the files of Chrissy. Additionally, you may sense it in the space. There was more to this than a simple civil issue. There was something heavy in the horizon. The amazement. The energy changed the instant they plugged in that flash disk. First arrived the screenshots. Thousands, perhaps hundreds. Encrypted communications, group conversations, and deleted messages, WhatsApps. The only sound in the courtroom was the nervous tapping of Chrissy's acrylics against the desk. However, the voice note was a bombshell that caused everyone in the room to pause their breathing for 10 seconds. Her voice was poisonous, angry, and desperate. They're crazy if they believe that I'm letting Jim die by himself. I constructed this. This belongs to me. Boom. A media frenzy was sparked by that clip alone. Then the video appeared. Film from a private Miami hotel suite security camera that was leaked. Chrissy is yelling on the phone to someone named G while pacing in heels. She was raving about how Cam had flipped accounts, and then she said it. Cam has dirt, but I'll destroy the entire Dipset enterprise if he speaks. The whole courtroom let out a gasp. In fact, the judge urged everyone to calm down. Chrissy's jaw tensed and her cheeks turned pale despite her best efforts to appear composed, as if she were suppressing a scream. Because how did Cam obtain this footage, and who was G? As you can see, most people are unaware of Cam, and Chrissy has a long history. They were almost family before Love and Hip Hop, before VH1 checks, and before the matching Gucci on red carpets. However, rumors claim that following a huge fallout over a backdoor transaction involving real estate money that inexplicably disappeared, things became sour in 2018. Additionally, Cameron never received his cut, according to unnamed people near the courtroom. He has been silent for years. According to insiders, Cam wasn't looking for influence. It was a personal matter. According to another leak, Chrissy transferred about $150,000 from a purported foundation for women's empowerment to a private luxury brand venture. However, that company never even set off. Chrissy's abrupt image glow-up was the only thing that started. Makeup artists, stylists, and curators' moments captured by paparazzi, all using charitable funds that were meant to support unmarried mothers. Additionally, the IRS is said to have eyes on each deal. Not to be overlooked is the NDA, a heavy-signed 2018 document. It described a private altercation, including physical threats, recording devices, and purported payments to keep it all under wraps, as well as a clandestine arrangement between Chrissy, Jim, and Cam. And you know what? Page by page, line by line, it was leaked. Cam's group has everything, and they presented it to the court as though it were a steakhouse menu. Chrissy's lawyer attempted to protest, dismissing it as unimportant history, but it was not accepted by the judge. The motion was denied by him. That's when it occurred. Chrissy lost it. She leaned forward, spoke to her lawyer in a whisper, and then started crying. Tears are smeared with real raw mascara. Not the kind of I'm on TV type. I'm losing everything. Her mouth quivered as cameras panned in. You could hear her covering her face, her mutter. This was not what he should have done. However, icy Cam sat there without blinking or flinching, as if he were seeing the cold, final application of justice. Furthermore, while everyone was focused on Chrissy, they failed to see that Cam's legal team wasn't completed as of yet. Not at all. They had financial reports and additional accusations. And an unnamed source is prepared to testify that Chrissy redirected money to her private brand by manipulating the production costs for several seasons of Love and Hip Hop. Collaborations. The insider claims that Chrissy was funding opulent getaways under the pretense of business retreats with show money. And it gets worse. She apparently persuaded a teenage public relations assistant to sign a fraudulent invoice, revealing that her birthday yacht party in Turks and Caicos actually benefited from $22,000 in media placement payments. Now, that same assistant is employed by a competitor, Network. And you know what? It is said that she is prepared to speak. On file, Twitter was on fire. Blogs on Instagram were going crazy. Conspiracy videos appeared on TikTok every 5 minutes. Others claimed that Cam had planned this all time. Others think Chrissy overreached him by using anything behind the scenes. But it's obvious that the public quickly changed their mind. I always thought she was sketchy. According to one comment, another said, even celebrities were chiming in. Another said, about time someone pulled her card. A verified producer. It wasn't only Chrissy's reputation on the line anymore, which is why I don't work with reality stars who believe they are CEOs, the tweet read. It was her freedom. This was not a simple controversy with a tangled love triangle. Rather, it involved financial fraud, Ryko energy and racketeering, tampering, and even obstruction. Chrissy's lawyer appeared to have aged 5 years and 5 minutes, and the courtroom was filled with whispers about the federal agents in the hallway. Chrissy did not get up when the court called for a recess. Instead, she simply Jim Jones wasn't even present. Yet he was sitting there with trembling shoulders and a tissue in one hand. According to rumors, he's been... Can you really blame him for ignoring the whole thing? But here's the worst part. Not only did Cam have receipts, but as the courthouse cleared and Chrissy was let out, struggling to remain composed, someone else did as well. Another person entered through the rear door. Mama Jones. Yes, the woman who never stops talking, was seen entering with a Bluetooth in her ear and what appeared to be a manila folder. If you know Mama Jones, then she only appears when things are going to go ugly, as you already know. What's in that folder? The courtroom hadn't even cooled up when she entered. So what's her part in all of this? And why did Cameron smirk? Bloggers were already using Chrissy's cancellation in their headlines, and reporters were still outside going live. However, Mama Jones had just entered that quiet hallway, and the entire atmosphere changed. She didn't say anything, but her expression was intense. Her eyes were dramatic, and she had come to face Chrissy rather than to console her. It was no accident that she was carrying a manila folder. She went past security as if she owned the building and headed directly to the private witness room, without hesitation, and her voice reverberated through the vents as the door closed behind her. Now listen, there's history here. Deep, twisted, never-healed history. Chrissy, tell them what you did, or I will. There was never a quiet moment between Chrissy and Mama Jones. From the beginning of love and hip-hop, they disagreed on everything. We didn't know how far Chrissy allegedly went behind the scenes to silence Mama, but we did know that she had money, influence, and a gym. Chrissy once offered a reality show producer $50,000 to remove all Mama Jones moments from the season, according to a leaked email that inexplicably appeared on a gossip blog minutes after Mama arrived. 4. The reason was because Mama had threatened to reveal a secret agreement Chrissy had made with Jim, selling a portion of the rights to a private investor in Atlanta. He sold his unpublished song catalogs, which allegedly weren't even Chrissy's to handle. However, after years of things falling apart, Mama Jones is no longer silent, and according to sources, she maintained receipts. Things began up quickly back in court, and Chrissy was still imprisoned in the witness room with Mama, having not yet returned. However, Cameron had returned to his seat and appeared far too composed, as if he had realized that the storm had finally passed her side of the street. At that point, the second bombshell was revealed by the prosecution in the form of a recently discovered voicemail from Chrissy to an unidentified woman in March 2020, cries, "I told you to use the ghost account, not the F connection," in a panic over a missed wire transfer. They're tracking it now. You read correctly. Now, this does not imply a direct association with Lil Durk or the crew, but bringing up F in any financial discussion that is being investigated raises all the red flags. Prosecutors asked the court for time in order to demand banking documents from 2 shell corporations in Atlanta that were purportedly connected to Chrissy's business team. And just when we believed with their suits, badges, and full presence, the FBI entered the corridor, although not in a low voice. Court was paused once more. They had names, and this wasn't just for show. They requested a private meeting with Chrissy's legal team. The atmosphere was so tense that it was impossible to breathe. According to an insider posing as a legal intern in the courtroom, they discovered the accounts that are located abroad. Boom. The game is over. People have whispered for years about Chrissy's abrupt increases in fortune, her new automobiles, her lavish vacations, and her million-dollar investments, all of which came without any active sources of income. And now authorities think she was using 3 aliases: CL Monroe, Christina Jones, and get this, to transfer show money, charitable contributions, and brand deals into offshore accounts. When it was revealed that Vera Santiago had 3 identities, the same birthday, and was registered in Panama, Cameron didn't even bat an eye. He simply smirked as he leaned back with his arms folded, as if he had been anticipating this day since 2019. Chrissy, however, hadn't people began speculating that she was having a complete collapse in the rear when she returned to the courtroom? But the last person anyone had anticipated arrived at that moment, Jim Jones, who appeared exhausted and had no shackles or gaudy drips. Wearing sunglasses, a hoodie, and a look that suggested he hadn't slept in days, he marched directly to Mama Jones without glancing at the cameras or greeting anyone. Whispered something in her ear and gave her a hug. Chrissy emerged a few seconds later, her lips quivering and mascara flowing. She reached for Jim's hand, evidently attempting to keep herself together, and he yanked away loudly enough for everyone in the front seats to hear. "You lied to me for years, and now the feds know everything," Jim said. Chrissy froze. Her face fell apart, shoulders fell, and the moment broke her. Jim left after Mama Jones turned away, and the public reacted enthusiastically. Wildfire. Videos of Jim turning Chrissy down in court quickly went viral on the internet, and TikTok began appearing. Chrissy was revealed. Mama Jones's threat was fulfilled. Cameron versus Instagram sites went crazy after he revealed the true reason he snapped, with one commenter writing, "I've known Chrissy was dubious. She didn't play Cam, but she played everyone." Another said, "This goes beyond reality television. This is the level of a federal indictment." They weren't mistaken, as the court proceeded with a last exhibit, an anonymous declaration that had been presented just hours earlier. Before from a former VH1 senior producer, according to the dossier, Chrissy frequently bought off editing crews to modify her appearance on TV by eliminating any verbal exchanges, threats, or even any physical altercations. In exchange, she provided access to brand hookups and high-level influencers. As one terrifying line put it, Chrissy used reality TV and all the men in her life as weapons to construct an empire of lies. The judge hesitated for a long moment. He then scheduled a date. Next Friday is the start of the formal investigative hearing. In the meanwhile, Ms. Lampkin must turn in her passport and abstain from discussing this case in the media. Chrissy cried once again. After turning to face her attorney, she turned to face Mama Jones, who refused to even examine her. Jim was already gone when she reached for him. That's the end of that love tale. The brand of that power couple was destroyed. That image of royalty on reality TV was tarnished. She was ready to leave quietly when she heard a voice coming from the corridor. Smith Yondandy. Oh, you're quiet now, but when I was on the chopping block, you were really talkative. Boom. Another turn, another foe, a new chapter on the horizon. Since Yondandy reportedly possesses her own receipts, she has been waiting for years to expose Chrissy, according to rumors circulating from that courthouse. And now that the reality is, she's unraveling and eager to let it out. In episode 3, we continue this maelstrom of treachery, legal battles, and reality TV retaliation, with Yondy entering the ring, the feds tighten the news, and more secrets are revealed. Do not even consider scrolling if this shook you as much as it shook us. This story is far from ended, so hit the like button, subscribe, and enable notifications. There will be more truth soon. More mysteries are coming to light. You don't want to miss what comes next, I promise. Put down your comments with your ideas. Do you believe Chrissy is at fault, or is she simply the fall? In a larger game, girl? Let's discuss due to the fact that this scenario is far from completed.